House Bill 99, as you know, also addresses the option, and it is an option, of arming school staff. Although this bill was in development well before the recent tragedy in Texas, that heartbreaking school shooting certainly increased the urgency to enact it.
So yes, there's just gonna be more guns in Ohio schools. Now, there had been in some cases, what the law that we're gonna be discussing does isn't fundamentally change the possibility that there could be guns in schools, but it makes it far more likely that the people who will be wielding them won't know what they're doing, won't be trained to deal with, some sort of school shooter or something, which I can't conceive of how most teachers would be able to be trained for that, but won't even necessarily have the base level training that anyone should have that's gonna be carrying a gun around to stop them from simply leaving it somewhere or accidentally discharging it. So let's break down what this law actually does. It's a permitless gun carry law for qualifying adults that went into effect just yesterday, a measure that would lift restrictions on school teachers, custodians, and bus drivers as well from carrying firearms at work. In Ohio, school employees have been allowed to carry guns on school grounds for years as long as the local school board consents. The Ohio Supreme Court ruled last year that they should receive the same 700 hours of training as law enforcement officials or security officers. Now, I might think that even after all that training, it's still a terrible idea, but 700 hours of training for anything is a lot. This new law, though, cuts that 700 hours down just slightly. It's now 24 hours of training for teachers who wish to carry weapons, so slightly less. And I'm going to guess that after you pass the 24-hour mark, the next 760 odd or 660 odd hours of training, there's probably a few nuggets in there that we would hope that people would have, particularly when they're gonna have guns around kids. But no, we're now, as a country, at least as a state, entering into a grand experiment where there's gonna be more guns in schools. And Yaz, we're gonna get to see what happens when you give people minimal training and incentivize them to carry guns around kids. Let's hope that there's no accidents.
When I saw that headline for the first time, I think it was yesterday, the feeling that I got was I need to leave this country. If I'm going to ever have kids in this country, I need to leave. I can't be here and raise children. And the thing is, a lot of women my age, a lot of people my age are concerned about a lot of those same things. I have mothers who are friends of mine, and they cry every day when they send their kids off to school because it's so hopeless, right? Nothing is going to happen. And more guns, we know, is not the answer to this problem, right? And then 24 hours is so insulting. You can't learn anything in 24 hours, let alone how to defend a classroom full of children against an armed, person with an assault rifle trying to kill all of the children in the classroom. It doesn't make any sense. It's insulting. It's not going to make any difference. And who has the budget for any of this? Who is paying for all this stuff? And why can't we get more money into actual education instead of wasting it on things like guns and training for teachers?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's very
frustrating. I agree. Well, and as we're gonna get to in just a sec, you're gonna find out that teachers don't actually generally support this. And that's, I guess, one of the mitigating factors that they can legislate this. I don't think there's a ton of teachers that actually want to do this because they don't think that's the solution. But even just one or two, that is one or two additional opportunities every single day for something to happen. For like I get that this is supposed to be like, this is heretical. Responsible gun owners make mistakes. Responsible gun owners sometimes leave their guns unsecured or put them down or accidentally discharge them. All sorts that just happens. We had the story, it was a week ago, of the principal who, I think it might have been a vice principal, brought a box of guns accidentally from her car into her office and just left them unsecured. They were just in a box there. That happens. I'm sure if you had asked that vice principal before this, they would have said that they were well trained. They all do. Nobody thinks that they are an untrained, irresponsible gun owner. Nobody says that. But it does happen, and the consequences can be absolutely dire. Let me give you just a few more details about the legislation. It no longer makes it a requirement for Ohioans age 21 and older to complete 8 hours of the handgun training course to carry and conceal a firearm, so yet more training being eliminated. It eliminates the requirement for gun carriers to tell police officers they have a concealed weapon on them, though they must say if they're asked. That's just one of those petty things that, like, it's almost like the Republicans want to let you know that they don't actually care about saving cops' lives like they think they do. They think that more guns cops don't know you have is a good thing. It's just like when everything is allowed, when you've just let people do whatever they want with guns, you have to work overtime to come up with new things to give them because they already can have these weapons of war. They already now don't need to be trained on it. So I guess you don't have to tell cops. I don't even know what you go to next. But I alluded to the poll about teachers. So let's jump to that. Recent proposal has called for certain teachers and staff to receive special training to carry guns in school buildings. Please rate your view of this proposal. This is a 2018 Gallup poll. So 20% either strongly favor or somewhat favor this. 63% strongly oppose. So massively, overwhelmingly, teachers are against this. They don't want more guns in their classroom. They certainly don't want the responsibility for taking down a mass shooter. Putting it on them is a massive dereliction of duty for the cops, but also for our elected officials, for our society. And you just hate to see it actually succeeding in Ohio. Any quick final thoughts? We got like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know a single teacher, no friend of mine who has ever gone into education has done so and considered the fact that they would have to defend their students against a shooter as part of just,
100%.
part of the job, just part of being a teacher. That's what you have to do now. It's not the same thing. We need teachers to actually teach in this country. That's what we need them to do. We need them to focus there. That's it.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.